What is up, guys? You're listening to Sports Biz with Rashad. Let's get started with today's episode. Hey guys, hope you're doing well. I have a very special guest on the podcast today. If you haven't heard of her, Kiana Scott was just recently named the first female scout in the OHL. At only 21 years old, she is making headlines as she tries to pursue her goal of becoming an NHL scout in a male-dominated industry. So good morning, Kiana. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Rashad. How are you?
I'm doing well. I want to start off. Why don't you tell us who is Kiana Scott?
Kiana Scott. For me, I just think of myself as a regular girl from Barrie, Ontario. Grew up playing hockey, and most people know me as the first female scout in the OHL.
Yeah, and how did you kind of begin your journey as a scout?
That's a long one. I started when I was younger. My brother and I played hockey growing up, and I always knew I wanted to do something with hockey as a career. It's kind of funny when I look back on it. My brother played rep, and I would always be in the stands and taking notes on him and his teammates. And I kind of scouted when I was younger. So looking back on it, I guess I always wanted to scout. Um, I did camps um, growing up, scouting at like training camps.
And how did you kind of find the opportunity or the, I guess, role you're in now?
The opportunity now. I was a scout with ISS Hockey in their mentorship program, and Erie kind of found me at the rink one day when I was on a journey of 3 games in one day. And they always just saw me at the rink and knew I was a hard worker and wanted to give me the opportunity.
Wow, so when you were with the ISS mentorship program, what were kind of your roles and responsibilities for that?
So we would have some calls. It was basically like school. It was a mentorship program, so they taught you how to scout, gave you the tools, which is RinkNet. Most scouts use RinkNet, so they gave us access to that, and it's all the schedules all around the world and how we access the schedules and put in reports. So that's how I kind of had a role of doing bantam, scouting, minor midget for the draft mostly. Those two age groups were kind of what I was responsible for.
And when you were scouting, I mean, being so young, did you think you were gonna have kind of this opportunity so early in your life?
No, I didn't. I thought it would take a couple more years, but I'm very fortunate to have this opportunity with Erie.
Wow. So when you got the call, do you remember how you felt when they called saying you're going to be working as a scout for Erie?
Yes, I remember that day clearly. I actually finished my other job and I was in the car, and when Scott called me and gave me the good news, I my heart was racing, and I just thought to myself, this is it. Like, this is what I worked for. All those long nights in the rink, and working two jobs plus my scouting. Like, it was a lot for those 2 years, and I worked really hard to get where I am, and it was a big accomplishment that night. So.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I mean, being a female, being the first female scout in the OHL, I'm sure you've had your fair share of obstacles and challenges you've had to overcome along the way. Is there any that kind of stood out to you that you want to talk about?
There's been a couple obstacles. I started in the industry kind of when I was actually 13. So I've been in the industry for a long time. Being a female, it's definitely uh, a lot harder to get into the industry. I am very young as well, so a lot of people weren't taking me very seriously when I said I wanted to become a scout and be in the OHL, be in the NHL one day. So I guess just um, what people would say, or like opportunities I missed out because I'm young, because I'm a female. Those were the obstacles, but you just kind of have to shrug those things off and keep moving.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. For your new role, what are you most excited about?
I'm most excited to learn. I'm one of those people that thinks you always have the opportunity to learn more and and improve on yourself. So I'm just looking forward to learn and take this year to reflect on things. And I mean, I have the best scouts in Erie, and they've already helped me so much. So I'm excited to learn from them, keep improving on my reports, reflect every draft, and also hopefully shadow the GM, Dave Brown, one day.
Yeah, that would definitely be very cool, a very good experience. In the end, though, what are your kind of ultimate career goals, and what do you plan to do to achieve them?
So I definitely want to help Erie win a championship for sure. And the ultimate goal is obviously to be an NHL scout one day, amateur or pro. I do like the amateur side of scouting, but I think pro would be really interesting way of scouting as well. Those are the two most my career goals. I also want to start my own clothing line, my own hockey clothing line, and hopefully some of the profits I'm gonna go towards sponsoring young prospects.
Wow, that's a really cool initiative, actually. So let's kind of go into the whole industry now. And why do you think there aren't many females working in sports, and particularly in hockey? Because when most people think of hockey, they think of, kind of an older white guy working.
Yes, I actually have gotten that quite a bit over the years, and I'm the exact opposite of that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't think there a lot of females even thought to be in the industry. Like I said, growing up, like a lot of people said, pick something more realistic, and I think a lot of other women think the same thing. And if you think of women in sports back then, you think about news anchor or like something to do with reporting. But now there actually is a lot of females in hockey. There's a couple scouts. I know there's a GM in Switzerland. There's a lot of agents now that are females. There's actually quite a bit, so it's really amazing to see.
Yeah, definitely some good developments. Do you think it's gonna kind of change over the next few years and more females will start to enter the industry as they see others working as inspiration?
I think so for sure. I think a lot of people, like even like myself, when I saw the first female OH or NHL scout, and now Blake Bolton as well too in the NHL, and now we also have Nicole Needham. She works for the Maple Leafs as an amateur scout. Just seeing that, like I'm so inspired to be in the NHL now, and like that is possible for me in the future.
Yeah, well, hopefully you can get there one day. I mean, there's not a lot out there, but over the next few years, hopefully that can change. I had a interesting conversation the other day too about just women's sports and how they get paid a lot less, but it's also because they get a lot less attention, a lot less marketing, a lot less TV time, and I think the biggest thing is just giving them a chance and breaking away from that stereotype of, what you typically picture in the industry, and I think that will help us transition towards a more equal, I guess, equal based industry because I think females have a lot to bring to the table and a lot new perspectives, and definitely, I'm sure you'll be hopefully working in the NHL one day.
Well, thank you, and I totally agree with that.
So what messages would you say you have for other females trying to break into the sports industry?
I definitely say don't give up and keep working hard. I mean, it's hard for them not to notice you if you keep showing up and they see your work ethic, and definitely don't let anyone bring you down and tell you no. There's a lot of people that actually are in the industry and are allies, like men that are allies for us and want us to succeed. I find the last maybe couple months, a lot of guys have reached out to me just saying that they support us with everything that's been happening with women in sports. So I think it's definitely changed since when I first got in the industry. So I just say don't let anyone tell you no, and keep working hard.
Yeah, I really like that message. I guess playing hockey when you were younger, did you always know that scouting was what you wanted to do, or was there just a drive to work in the industry overall?
I definitely wanted to work in the industry. I thought I was going to be a coach for a long time. I'm not sure. I think in the future I want to dabble in coaching, something I enjoy. I didn't know I wanted to do scouting per se, but when I did scout my brother's games and stuff, like looking back on it, that's something I really enjoyed, evaluating players and also training them too. So I think I always wanted. I knew it, but didn't actually know how to go about it.
For sure. And growing up when you were scouting your brother's hockey team, what did you what kind of programs did you use to learn how to scout, or where did you find the information to know what to look for and how to help the team?
I was quite young, so I just kind of did it for fun. I didn't use any programs. I knew nothing about that. I think I was like maybe 11 years old. Like I was pretty young. But just my knowledge of hockey and I guess research as well.
Okay, so you just kinda it was just a more for fun thing, and then you kinda realized you liked it and wanted to keep going, and then now here you are today about 10 years later, I guess, and working as the first OHL scout.
Mhm.
Um, that's kinda all the questions I have, so I just wanna say, thank you so much for coming on today, and I wanna wish you the best of luck with your scouting career, and hopefully you can be a big inspiration to other females trying to break into the industry as well.
Well, thank you so much, and thanks for having me on your podcast. I wish you all the best with it.
And that wraps up this episode of Sports Biz with Rashad. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed, be sure to check us out on Instagram at Sports Biz with Rashad and support us on all other platforms. I'll catch you guys on the next episode.